living in a world gone geek. It's time to geek hard or go home. The podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
That's right. It is time for the podcast is real. Hello and welcome. This is the official podcast of World Gone Geek, which is a pop culture entertainment group of enthusiasts seeking to chat, play, and do some community good to change the world for the better. That's all we're trying to do, trying to make a true World Gone Geek. Tonight's show is all about the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is very exciting. It just amazingly filled out over 20 plus films and an epic finale. Just got to be the most coordinated and immense episodic storytelling attempt pretty much up to this point on the big screen ever attempted, right? And now they're amping up for phase 4, which includes the small screen a lot more than it did the last time. And hopefully we're going to get more of the same. And tonight we have a special guest on the show who will be talking about this with us, Mr. Tom Tennant, joining us from MarvelCinematicUniversity.com as we dig through the TV series, the upcoming film slate, and even speculate and theorize about what is to come. So you don't want to miss that. Please stick around. Before we do that, however, I must introduce my intrepid co-hosts, my geek comrades in arms, and that's not weapons, but actual arms of the metallic, robotic, tentacular type. Here's Utah and Aaliyah. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Aaliyah.
Greetings.
What are you playing? I couldn't quite make it out.
I was trying to play the World Gone Geek intro.
Nope. It was very recognizable, but I'm thinking it's a more famous song, and I'm trying to connect it to something bigger than when
you said
song.
MCU, I thought we were talking about my Marvel cool uke, and so
yeah. But you're right. It doesn't sound as good as the other one.
It's a horrible ukulele, but it's a really cool uke.
It's for the looks, not for the sound.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is something I'll hang up on the wall.
Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering what that looks like, we are live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch right now, which is a new tradition. We're trying to broadcast on we're trying to take over all forms of media. So we've got 3 of them now. We've got a few more to hit. I think we got to get Instagram Live, Periscope. What else?
Is Periscope still a thing?
TikTok, I think so. Yeah, we're trying to take over all media. That's the idea. How else can we make sure that the world turns geek without reaching? What's that?
I said OnlyFans.
No, that won't be happening. Maybe we might leave that one.
No, the thing is that I saw because on Hulu they keep sending me these ads. And I saw the OnlyFans. I thought know the inappropriate version of OnlyFans, but
apparently people are actually using it to communicate with fans, but it's got a reputation for the other because that's the majority of it.
But but on there it says that if you're a creator, like content creator, blogger, or chef, things of that nature, this is like an area for you.
Yeah. But we'll probably avoid the connotation and just stay.
We have Patreon, which is very much the same thing, except
sort of. Actually, you know what? I just opened. It's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that, Utah, because I haven't really been taking good care of the Patreon site, mainly because you're the only patron right now, Utah. But the reason is just I figure you understand. It's kind of like I don't clean up the house when you come over to visit, right? Because it's just you. It's just but when we did open a Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/World Gone Geek. So if you go there, you can also just throw $5 towards, we changed it to Buy Me a Pizza, which $5 would not buy any of us actually a pizza, maybe a slice or two.
Maybe a personal pan.
What? Yeah, at Little Caesars.
That's true. Yeah, but
yes,
I could eat one of those by myself. So you would have to we need another $5 for Utah and Aaliyah to have one, because you guys can share.
Aaliyah and I are splitting one. Yeah. I heard that.
It was an insult aimed at myself because I will eat the whole pizza. That was the joke.
Could easily eat a whole pizza.
That was a self-deprecating joke. It was not any kind of an implication of anything like that. But yeah, check that out. In fact, I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the show. But if you go to buymeacoffee.com and you donate a little bit to help us with the shows, I'm sending folks vinyl stickers. So we've got these stickers. I know a sticker is not, $5, but again, it's to help us keep the lights on, and you can support us by sporting this sticker on your notebook, your Trapper Keeper at school.
We can see your face through it.
Or on your lunchbox. I know, because there's part of the green. Oh, that's kind of weird. I'm gonna see if I can get my eyeball in there. No,
really
sorry. Again, sight gags on a podcast don't work. So this works on YouTube, but not on the podcast. But anyway, I've got these stickers. They're our new logo. I'd love to send you one. Make sure you put your at your Twitter in there when you support us, and we will I will DM you. So you have to be following us on Twitter, or I won't be able to DM you. And we'll get one of these to you, because we want people to have them, and it's awesome. So before we get started, we do want to break the ice a little bit. This is what I'm asking you guys to talk about this week. So really, I just want to know, and we've done this on the show before, but time has passed, and I want to know what you guys are binging. What are you binging right now? What is your current binge? I'm going to say binge a couple more times, so please tell us what you're binging.
You're binging the word binge? Is that what you're?
Yes, binging? I'm binging saying the word binge. So Utah, go ahead. What do you? What's your current binge? The last show you're watching multiple episodes of in a row.
Well, okay. So I guess the Sam and Bucky Power Hour doesn't really count, because
it's weekly. It's not. It's hard to binge that. I guess
it's hard to binge that, right? So I can't say that I'm watching anything else regular. I am catching up on Lovecraft Country, because I never finished the first season.
There you go.
So there's.
How are you enjoying that
on HBO Max? I love it. I can't wait.
It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty. It's pretty fantastic. And I don't know if they've already signed up for season 2 or not, but
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard either. But the first season so far, I think I've got one more episode to finish up the season. But it's been fantastic. I mean, between the historical aspects of it, and then you throw in a little bit of X-Files in there, and the cast is brilliant. It's really one of my favorite shows. And
awesome.
I hope a season 2 comes up.
Yeah, me too. Aaliyah, what are you watching?
Dark. It's on Netflix.
Dark, yeah. Isn't it like a weird time travel thing going on too, or some strange shenanigans?
Yes, so it is.
Shenanigans.
Yes, definitely some time shenanigans. It is a sci-fi drama-esque. There's 3 seasons. I'm only on like episode 5. They're like 45 minutes, maybe an hour each. Which every time I say that now, I'm thinking I've spent 5 hours of my day watching these episodes. But it's fine, because although like my friend that I'm currently living with, she can sit through and just watch them, right? And because of the suspense, I do not like scary movies. I can just withstand suspenseful movies. But I'm sitting there, like this, with my hand over my eyes, barely peeking. Right. But it's a fantastic show. Fantastic.
Awesome.
But you have to make sure that you're paying attention. It's one of those things where if you look away for a second, you can miss something. So it is.
Oh, so that's a struggle for you then. Yeah. If you're like,
if you're watching it like this, you're going to miss a lot of things.
Well, because that there's like obviously those scenes where you could hear the suspenseful music, and that something's about to happen.
Oh,
yeah. And so that's when I'm just peeking through my eyeballs. But also, you guys know about the horror that my father has put me through as a child. So I have
always scaring you, and you come in with weird masks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't let on that you're watching this, or he'll find a way to sneak it into your his next prank, right?
Oh,
well, you're not at home, so you don't really have to worry about it.
Well, yeah, right now you have to. Well, I don't know. If he's really persistent about pranking her, he
could drive over there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the part of that is I would not put that past him. And because of where my friend lives, it is in a more foresty area. And granted, dark in
perfect.
It's in Germany, and where they're located, there is a lot of forest area. So I feel as though my dad would definitely make that happen.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So
Aaliyah's dad, if you're listening, if you need an accomplice.
Utah just volunteered. Yeah, so you're right about that show being one you have to pay attention to. I actually tried that. I binge a ton of shows, right? So I watch a lot of stuff kind of in the background. I'm currently going through I've mentioned this before. This is not the show I'm talking about binging, but all the Dark Shadows. There's over 1,200 episodes of these. Yeah. I'm in about the middle. I'm in the 600 somewhere. And those I just leave on in the background when I'm working and editing and doing things because, you don't have to pay as close attention. It's a soap opera. So they repeat what just happened like 7 times throughout the episode. They're very, very on the nose with everything. But that Dark, I tried to watch one like that. I was like, what? No, you have to watch it. So plus isn't it subtitled, I think?
It is because they speak German.
Yeah.
And
so
I like subtitles. So it doesn't bother me.
No, but you can't casually watch a movie that's subtitled, right? You gotta look at the screen.
Right. You can't just listen to it.
Unless German is your language, you're stuck. So my binge. Nugen. Yes. That's about as far as it goes for me. And I still don't know what that means. It's just, I know it's a Volkswagen commercial.
Thing, right? Yeah.
You said hello.
Is it Farfignugan? I have no, I think it means go fast or something. Who knows?
No, that means like fun driving or something.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So my current binge actually is the new show. You can find it on Peacock or probably on Sci-Fi if you have it on demand. And that's Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk.
With Alan Tudyk.
And my gosh, is this show fun. It is so silly and so fun, but also kind of serious at times. And it gives me vibes. Now, it's not exactly like this show, but it gives me those Eureka vibes. You guys remember that show, Eureka?
Mm-hmm. That was a great show.
It's like, it was just this quirky fun, but it also had kind of like this serious sci-fi undertone going on with it as well. This show, I mean, you already know Alan Tudyk is going to be funny. And
absolutely,
he plays an actual alien who has crash lands on Earth and then tries to fit in. And you think, okay, well, it's just going to be like a Mork and Mindy type of situation, except his mission is to actually destroy the Earth. And that's not a spoiler. Like they tell you pretty much right off the bat, that's what he's here to do. And so it's like, it's funny to see him trying to acclimate into, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Right. Because
assimilate into like human society. Because
he looks human to everybody.
Yes. He's taken on the form of Alan Tudyk. But then there are certain people who have a genetic disposition to be able to see him as he truly is. Like there's a little boy who can see him. It's really funny. It's really silly. It's also kind of irreverent. It's the whole gamut. Me and my wife love watching it. We're cracking up laughing at the humor. It is really funny. Great show. And it just finished like the season finale. So you can probably find all of them on Peacock now. But we started on Peacock, but they weren't releasing them as fast as Sci-Fi was. So Sci-Fi ended up where we watched the rest of them. So check those out. You can find I imagine if you have Sci-Fi in your cable, you might be able to find it on demand. You know what I mean? Right. Otherwise it's on the Peacock network if you have that. So gotcha. Peacock is the streaming. I was mentioning the Sci-Fi because not everybody has Peacock. But you may have Sci-Fi as part of your cable program and you can either pick up the reruns or pick up the on demand, and watch it. So that's awesome. That's my binge. And it's been a lot of fun. So all that said, that's our little brief kind of banter. We got through the beginning here, but we really want to get into the MCU. We want to talk about all the stuff that's going on. You mentioned it as you'd love to binge it, but we can't because it's coming out weekly. The Sam and Bucky Power Hour, as we affectionately refer to it, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is awesome. Such amazing. A great episode.
We're going
to dive into that shortly, but I'm going to bring on our guest. We're going to welcome to the show from MarvelCinematicUniversity.com and MidwestMovieMaker.com. I think he can correct me. No, he nodded. It's Tom Tennant. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, gang.
Hey, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
We're grateful that you're here. You're just back from vacation.
Yeah.
And you're all well rested and
sure.
Awesome. And ready to talk all things Marvel. In fact, you probably spent most of the vacation thinking about Marvel.
Yeah, a good portion of it.
I could imagine. Yeah, you had all this free time.
Lay out on the beach.
Where did you go?
Contemplate. We went to North Topsail Island in North Carolina.
Ooh, okay.
So if you're
lovely.
it is. It's undiscovered. So if you are into just going someplace where there's like nothing to do except be on the beach and be with your family, it's perfect and not expensive. So
Very cool.
the restaurants are, but we stayed in
there has to be something.
That's right. But we stayed in a VRBO for like $150
cool.
a night, and it was a 2-bedroom condo, 2 floors. It was really nice. So
nice.
I would
Good for
recommend
you.
that. Yeah.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, our kind of early banter is over, but I do want to ask, what are you binging, Tom? Let's go ahead and ask you the same icebreaker question.
I was trying to think of this when you asked, and I'm not really binging anything. I got to the point with COVID and everything where I got burnt out on binging. So I've been catching little bits of things, but you were talking about Resident Alien. Whoa.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. And we just watched the premiere episode, so we're getting into that. So I think I'll be binging that. And
Alan Tudyk is just so underrated. He's
really,
so
really good. Yeah.
Super fun. Yeah, that's a great one. You're going to enjoy that.
Yeah. And there's stuff coming out. There's that, sorry, I interrupted, but on Netflix The Irregulars. Have you seen previews?
Yes.
I wanted to start that as well. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just bombarding us with shows I want to watch. It's just, it's killing me. This is for a guy who just loves and kind of obsesses over binging and seeing them as soon as possible. And then having a family that's yeah, we'd like to watch that, but isn't ready to watch it as often as I am. It's stressful. So no, I'm kidding. The Irregulars looks amazing. HBO is premiering The Nevers tonight at 9 o'clock.
The Nevers.
That's
really
almost like the one that was on Amazon Prime with Cara Delevingne.
I can't keep up
with the fairies. Yeah. I don't know. It's like almost like a steampunk.
Carnival.
No. What was that called?
I forget what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyway, this seems like the same kind of thing. A steampunk world with magic, a little Harry Potterish type world, but a little more for adults, perhaps. And so, it's that looks interesting. And it's please, give a little break and let me just enjoy what you've already put out. And then there's Them on Amazon Prime now.
Yes, I heard that's been, I heard that was fantastic.
I have seen multiple trailers and I got a clip on Facebook today that just made me oh my gosh, this show is so unnerving. And I like those kind of shows. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I can't keep up. I'm
Them sounds like it's perfect for you.
Yeah.
I want to watch it. I also started watching Static Shock, the original one. Because I wanted to
I also started watching Invincible, and that's pretty good so far.
Thank you. Another one.
I'm two episodes. I'm on episode 2 now, and so far it's been great.
No, I'm up to speed on that one. I went ahead and watched the rest of them.
I also wanted to watch Schitt's Creek because I keep seeing these memes and I didn't know what it was.
You need to watch that show because that show is amazing.
Oh man,
it's really
so we could do a whole show about which shows we're gonna. Obviously, what started as an icebreaker question is now going to be the topic of our next show.
Right.
So not true. Actually, we're going to be doing a different topic in a couple weeks. But tonight's topic.
This Week in Geek.
We are all talking about Marvel. So Marvel, DC had their time with Snyder Cut. They got some attention. We're done talking about that. We're moving on to Marvel. And there's lots of cool stuff. So for
number 1,
we are going to be talking about television. So Marvel Cinematic Universe includes both film and television, which is awesome. It has for some time, but never have they really they're both there, but they've never really melded together the way they're hoping to do it now. Like on Jessica Jones and the other shows, they'll mention things that happened in the films. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was almost for a while crossed over and then just went. But now in television, they're actually making shows with the characters from the movies, these limited series, which we just finished off the brilliant WandaVision. And now we're in the middle of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, or the Sam Bucky Power Hour. We are going to make that a thing. Hashtag. So yeah. And this is the time to throw out, by the way, if you haven't seen WandaVision, if you haven't seen Falcon the Winter Soldier, we can't say if you haven't seen Loki, it hasn't come out yet. So we can't spoil the things that haven't come out yet, but those are out already. And we are going to talk about them. So I'm going to warn you right now, just go ahead and shut it down because we are going to talk some things that may be spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
All right. So let's start off though with WandaVision, because it was the very first of this new phase of television shows and was kind of a way to introduce us to this new format of telling stories in the MCU. So let's start with you, Tom. Tell us a little bit about your impressions of WandaVision.
Well, I really enjoyed it. And I know we had talked online. For me, it started a little slow, like those first 2 episodes.
Yeah, we argued for quite some time about that.
Yeah. I was
trying to convince you. No, it's not slow.
Well, but that was also a very common thing you saw.
I know.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There were the 2 camps.
Yep. And I was it was slow, but I get it,
Sure.
And it was almost like an editing, right? Like, I just would have edited that kind of stuff. But beyond that, like once it kind of hit episode 3 and 4, it really took off. And I think you can't. The one thing Marvel does really well, which I'm sure we'll touch on throughout the hour, is it just tells really good character stories where, they go kind of. They go big in terms of action, but they like to delve into real issues. And I just think, tackling Wanda's grief in the way that they did, it was just impressive and fun and just, simple and easy and kind of a way that, folks who have gone through that or are going through those stages could really relate. And it just kind of broadened her character a lot. It left her in a place where we're not quite sure how good or evil she may be, probably in the middle. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I thought it was great. I could have used more white vision, but
that was it. That was kind of a fun.
Yeah, he'll be turning up before long.
He's got.
I'm sure
back somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah. Have you guys watched the Disney Plus Assembled TV show yet? It's a new show that they've put out that will be a making of each of these shows, basically. Yeah. So they've already released the WandaVision one, and did you see?
Amazing what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, like you would never have known that. Paul Bettany was just in blue face makeup with his ears out. If you watched the show, like they didn't bother doing that whole balaclava thing from the movies. They didn't have to. They did it all CG. Just so much stuff that looked seamless. It was really cool to see behind it. Yeah, I mean, you've never known. You have never known. Which makes me appreciate the acting involved too. Because can you imagine acting next to Paul Bettany, who's got a bald cap and is blue faced with flesh colored ears, and you got to
and she's got to look lovingly into his face and kiss him.
Exactly. I mean, that just elevates the acting.
It's like, what is happening? Why do you look like a Smurf with dots all over your head?
Right, pretty much.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And, I guess if they tried to put some sort of, headpiece on there, it would crinkle and move when he moved his head, or he would have to keep it still like the, Michael Keaton Batman or something. And that wouldn't look natural. But yet, when he moves, like it looks like his actual, it's incredible how well they pulled it off.
And the other thing I didn't realize too is that, if you take a look at the color palette that they use for the black and white episodes, they are not what you expected. Like, Vision is kind of purplish red maroon, but that didn't play in the black and white screen. So he had to use blue to make it look. I mean, these are things that you
apparently they used blue lipstick back in the days to make your lips look more red.
Right.
Wow.
Like, these things you just have no idea the effort involved. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously much was revealed in that, which we will talk about the implications of it in our third section when we start to speculate about what this means for the future. But at the end, obviously she's, if you watched both, Aaliyah, did you go back and watch the second?
Did you watch the final did you watch the post credit scene?
No,
you still haven't seen it.
I still have yet. You can feel free to spoil. It's perfectly fine.
She saw the post credits and thought it was over. There's another post credits.
And when post Post credits.
She didn't find that out until we were discussing it on the show. So, she's in the cabin. She's trying to find her boys. Apparently her boys are out there somehow, somewhere. And she's got the Darkhold, the book, the Necronomicon. And I
was really hoping.
Klaatu, Verata. She's like doing the whole thing.
That's the crossover I want so badly.
Yes, right?
Oh my God, I need to see this.
And she's trying to, so it teases obviously that something's going to happen. So we're going to talk about that in a later section, but the implications are there that this show is going to impact the films. Like, that's what I love about what they're doing here. Like, everything that's happening, it's like, okay, this is great. This is, on its own, like, this was a cool show. Like, if you were just done, like, I enjoyed this. This was a cool show. But now they're going to take this and impact the films. And can they stand alone on their own as a show and then also impact the films, what we're going to see as we go forward? I think this one does for sure. But let's talk about Sam and Bucky Power Hour, because I think I've been dying to talk about this week's episode with folks, because holy cow.
What an episode. The way it started, the first 5-10 minutes of it was so affecting. And I just want to point out, Sebastian Stan is acting the crap.
Yes. That first scene.
That first 5 minutes of him in Wakanda and them, making sure that his Hydra programming is gone. That was incredible.
Really well done.
So affecting and impactful. And then the last 5 minutes was also incredibly impactful. And again, and Wyatt Russell is also acting the crap out of this character. Like, I really, really believe that he is a jerk in the biggest way.
The character, not the actor. I'm sure Wyatt Russell, because we'd love to have Wyatt. We'd love to have you on the show sometime. We do not think you're a jerk. I just want to clarify.
He's a wonderful human being, but he is acting so well.
No, he's doing amazing.
A horrible person.
Go ahead, Leah.
It's incredible.
Aaliyah's fired up. Here she goes.
I did. I got excited because you watched The Boys. I know you did. And do you remember when I can't remember the character, but they basically told Bucky that, or not Bucky, Billy, that the young boy was his canary, right? And that's exactly what I thought about
Huey is a canary.
Right. Huey is Billy's canary. Yep. But at this point, with the new Captain America.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm forgetting all of these names.
You're right. When Lamar /
Battlestar Hoskins.
Yes. When
he was Walker's canary.
He was Walker's canary. And the thing is that being the new Captain America, I can't imagine that weight that you have to carry, right? You're sitting here and you're trying to fill all of these shoes and
can't do it.
You can't. There is no way. And so for him, he was expecting probably in his mind to be either hated, because he knew what was going to happen, right? He had different ideas going on through his mind. Was that either he was going to be hated or there was a chance that people could accept him. And I'm sure he was wanting the latter, right? He wanted people to he wanted people to respect him. Sorry,
sure,
give me 1 second, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that I think you're right. And so can someone explain what, or Aaliyah, go ahead and explain what the canary allegory reference means for those who don't watch The Boys, because there are probably a lot of people who watch the MCU and will never watch The Boys because they're very different. Until this episode. This episode had shades of The Boys in it. Really did. Yeah, John but yeah, explain the canary reference. Why is he a canary?
Very, very much a Homelander's reference. And to me, I believe that the canary is like it's someone that keeps you grounded. Someone that it's almost like it's like they see you through your good, your bad, and they accept you. They keep you at bay.
Like a moral compass.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely that moral compass. So Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna. Sorry, I was just gonna. I was gonna back you up with like it's like you're the id, ego, and superego, right? So, and I forget which is which now, but it's kind of your id, right? Like is your id the yeah, it's maybe it's the ego that keeps everything else in check. It all has to be balanced. So he plays that, to your point, he plays that role too of like, and I guess he did in the comics too. And I don't remember back in the day, but that Battlestar character did the same for the comics, John Walker too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I remember that corollary. And the whole thing about the canary comes from that whole canary in the coal mine thing, where miners in the old coal mines would bring canary with them. And well, this is actually kind of sad and unfortunate now that I think about it in my mind. But they would bring a canary down to the mines with them, and as soon as a canary fainted or died, they knew the miners had to get out because oxygen levels were getting low and everything else. So that's where the whole canary. Yeah.
But to my point, yes, Walker is definitely a jerk. He is not the nicest person, but he had huge shoes to fill. No, he's not. He's not. He had huge shoes to fill.
Superman 2 taught me that. Don't so
it's hard. I mean, like, I don't think that, after a while, and he's battling. Okay. He is battling things within himself. He's battling things with probably the government, because we saw how they were with, Steve. He's battling things with the entire world, right? So it's not just himself. So having his canary was kind of like someone that kept him at peace, someone that kept that balance for him. And then with him gone, well, we saw how Homelander did. So.
Yeah, well, and it's funny. People have been making the comparisons in the images of Cap when he lost Bucky versus when Walker lost Battlestar, and it's two different personalities very reacting different. Two very different ways. Well, and the parallels between the end of Civil War and the end of this episode, holding up the shield, and Captain America choosing to disarm him and put it aside. And instead, that final frame with the blood on the shield is just, it was just like, whoa.
Oh yeah. The composition and direction of this episode was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, all the callbacks to, from Walker smashing through the door with a gun behind a shield, just like from the first Captain America movie with him in the, why don't I remember?
Howling Commandos.
The Howling Commandos behind him, right? Him jumping out the window, that you've seen that in Captain America. And again, the shield over the head, everything.
It was very symbolic of how much of a poser he is. Do you know what I mean?
How very different he is.
But absolutely. it's like the fact that he did all of the same actions, I think, are the kind of the filmmaker's way of showing he's a pale imitation of Captain America. Right. Yeah, he's doing these actions, but then look at who he is. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter as much what you do as who you are.
And Dr. Erskine said that at the very beginning, right?
Yep.
That the serum makes, just amplifies what's already there. So good becomes great and bad becomes evil. And you see in actuality, tangible evidence of what's going on.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Young lady down in the front.
I know. I keep like, I don't know. I get excited, I guess. But I forgot my point because you guys started talking about something else. So.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I'll probably think of it later.
Yeah. Do you guys see them playing a lot with Walker as sort of the soldier who comes home with PTSD and is trying to assimilate but can't assimilate and just doesn't have the support that he needs, and then he breaks. That makes perfect sense considering when we were introduced to Sam. In Winter Soldier, that he was counseling.
He even explains that as the reason he should go into Carly. Right? And at the same time, you're like, Sam, this guy needs you. Do you know what I mean? Like Sam
Carly that really needs you.
Sam's disgust with him holding that shield is blinding him from the fact that this guy needs his help. Yeah. So there's so much conflict going on that's just kind of crazy. It's very layered.
It's so very well written and very nuanced. It's really well done.
Yeah.
One of the things I do want to mention, though, is the guy that he smashes with the shield literally just moments before talked about how Captain America was kind of, an idol of his. Yeah. Holy cow. When you think tragic, right? I didn't in the moment, I was just so caught up in it and think about it. And then afterwards it hit me. Oh my gosh. Like as he's looking up at a man wearing the costume and carrying the shield of his hero and is about to, whoa, how much more like weight does that scene carry when you think of it that way?
Oh yeah.
Did he take the serum?
Which one?
Oh yeah.
They don't show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They don't show it, but
he must have.
He bent that bar.
That was when we knew that he took it. Yep.
Yeah. And then we were sort of the audience, or that the character he was fighting was sort of the audience in that point, which I liked a lot, where he was just like, because we all realized like, oh crap, he's taking the serum.
And Sam was like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And Sam knew instantly. Yep.
Yeah. It's great. So the show overall though, let's just kind of like focus in on that. Cause I want to just focus in on that final episode. Or the most recent episode, not the final episode.
Yeah. How come there's two more, man? They can't end it like this.
And I don't want to spend the whole show talking about this, but the overall opinion, I do want to share this. Is a friend of mine posted this on Facebook, which I found absolutely fascinating. Way to look at the show is, if you notice, they're dealing with lots of different things. Like we're seeing Sam's life. We're seeing post blip things. We're seeing which the world is in this weird state where everybody disappears, so everybody's got to come together. And I gave an example to a friend on Facebook yesterday. Imagine that like everybody in your neighborhood kind of disappeared except for you, and a few years later everything's settling down. A bunch of homeless people who had no homes before have now found homes. They're living in your neighborhood, and you guys are now building a new community. And then everybody comes back. What do you do?
Yeah,
that's where Carly's group is coming from, right? They're the homeless folks who moved into those homes or came to those countries to help them rebuild. They were refugees before, or they were disenfranchised. And it's like now in the post blip, we have somewhere to go. They need us. So we're helping them rebuild. We have homes now. And then everybody comes back and the countries are like, oh, our friends are back. You guys got to go now. And that's why they're so angry. So this is what's making that Flag Smashers group. Siri always interrupts the show. She's always listening.
Siri is your Richard.
Come on, Siri.
She sure is. But yeah, I love that aspect of it, because we're really starting to, that's a philosophical question that like people were asking after Endgame. It's like, okay, so yeah, this happens, but what happens? Like we're just supposed to like go back to normal and expect everything to be okay. And I'm so glad that Marvel is kind of addressing that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So I was going to ask you guys what you thought about that.
Yeah, no, I that's the one thing that I think they're doing really well, and I hope that they can, and they don't have to, but they can end it. Is this whole series deals so well with marginalized people, right? Mm-hmm. From Sam and his sister to Bucky and his mental illness to Walker and his mental illness to the Flag Smashers and their kind of refugee status. And it so delves into all of these different people that society just doesn't see or doesn't appreciate or doesn't realize what they give to the community themselves. And it's just pointing all of that out really well. And I hope that they can kind of tie that together, although they don't need to, because they don't have to solve that problem. But to kind of bring it to light and push those characters off at the end of this series with that knowledge and kind of the knowledge of, we have to figure out how to do different and do better, which I think they start to hit with Sam and Carly, right? Where he says, I agree with your fight, but not how you're fighting it. Mm-hmm. I think that's where Sam will end. And, I know we'll get into speculation, but I speculate that he'll pick up the shield, mm-hmm. But with that in mind, right? And that kind of follows his comic run too, as Captain America, where he's really focused on marginalized society and helping them. There's a whole big border thing in that comic book run. And I'm kind of hoping it ends that way. And I just kind of like how they're building to that too. It's very cool and very pretty deep too.
I also wanted to see what you guys thought about this notion. A friend of mine posted when this first kind of got started. I'll give him a shout out, John Dusenberry. There you go. So this is who initially posted this, and I don't know if he read it somewhere else or whatever. So he may have to give credit to someone else, but that's where I first kind of was turned on to this idea. But what we see in these first few episodes, where we see Sam and Bucky encountering the police in that neighborhood
in Baltimore,
and then we see the Isaiah, who was the African American super soldier, and we see Sam kind of struggling with those things. And he brought up something that I didn't even think about, but when at the end of Endgame, when Cap goes back and relives the regular life he was supposed to live and becomes 90 years old like he's supposed to be, he lived through the civil rights movement. He lived through Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all of that. He saw all that happen. In fact, he had to stand by and watch it happen, right? Even though there's things he probably could have done, but you can't mess with the timeline. But he saw all that happen, and when it was finally time, and when all the heroes had returned to pass on the shield, he chose Sam. He chose an African American to carry that hope, that torch forward. Is kind of an interesting thing that hadn't even occurred to me, because Bucky was his best friend, but he also knew Bucky was a little in the head at the time, so he wasn't quite ready for that anyway. Even Bucky saw that.
Bucky
right?
Knew, yeah.
Both of those guys had lived for hundreds of years. Now, Bucky was obviously on ice a few years here in between here and there and stuff like that. But they know what happened, but Cap actually had to live through it and see it firsthand. And he's like, this is the torch. I'm ready to pass the torch, and I'm going to have to do it. It's going to be Sam. And I just thought that was really a fascinating look at that. Do you feel like that is something that the show is trying to and then that puts even more weight on Sam turning it down? You know what I mean? Not realizing his responsibility, right? That it's like, no, you don't understand. You're not just carrying this for Steve because he asked you to. You know what I mean? You're carrying this for the country, for the world, and for boys and girls that look like you, and all of these other things. You know what I mean? Like, Sam, this is so important, and I'm hoping that based on those episodes focusing on his background and his experiences as a black man, I hope the show kind of uses that to form who he is as Captain America.
Yeah, I'm like mixed. I like that too. I always took it as, and the comic book run had already occurred. I like the idea of Steve Rogers just seeing Sam as his counterpart, as you're as pure as I am in terms of how
Absolutely.
you see other people, how you treat other people, how you are as a human being. So it's important for you to carry shield. But I like what you're saying, Jeff, too. I like, and I think Bucky carries that through the show. I think that's what Bucky's trying to tell him is like, dude, Steve saw you as him,
Oh, absolutely.
Talking about there is no other Steve Rogers, but you are Steve Rogers. You are the other Steve Rogers. But I do hope he kind of picks up the shield, sees himself as, as pure and honorable as Steve was, but also then carries that with the kind of flag smasher idea of we're all one people, we're all one world, and I'm going to focus my captain, role that way too. So that's where I'm hoping that goes.
But I think that it's really important to point out, like, when Sam goes back home, he has it in his mind that he's automatically going to be able to help his sister because of his role within society, right? Oh, don't worry, exactly. Oh, don't worry. They know who I am, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be able to help you. I'm going to be able to fix this. And then it was kind of like that smack in the face of like, oh, I know who you are. Can I get a picture? Yeah. Can I get a picture with you? But we're not going to help you. Yeah. And then, he has that run-in with the cop, and, it is very much reality, right? In a sense. But I definitely agree with you guys. I think that if Sam was to actually, I'll save this for the speculation part. I forgot that we were going to do that.
No, it's okay. No, finish it here with the show. Definitely say it now.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that if he decides to take up that mantle, I hope that he does exactly like you guys were saying, see what Steve saw within him, because everyone obviously, one of the things that a lot of people saw within Steve was that moral compass that we keep kind of talking about. Seems like a very underlying theme here. He had that, whether it was agreed by none or agreed by all. And he obviously saw something in Sam. And as hard as it was for him, I'm sure, to give it up. And he probably, like he said, thought that he was doing the right thing. I hope that he really does take on that mantle, because I want to see that.
Yeah. I'm going to just go down the list of all the other series that are coming out, because there's a lot, and we're not going to obviously be able to talk about each and every one of them, but I'm going to go through the list of all the rest of these.
Well, they haven't happened yet.
Well, what's that?
They haven't happened yet, so we can't really talk about them.
Well, no, we can talk about, like, there's a lot of things to talk about, though.
Sure.
But I'm just going to kind of list them off, give a few brief little facts, and then I'm going to ask each of you which one of these you're most anticipating. Okay. So this is from the TV series. So obviously up next after Sam and Bucky is Loki. That just dropped a trailer this week, so be sure to check that out. That looks amazing. It's got Owen Wilson, which is kind of fun, and Tom Hiddleston does a great Owen Wilson impression, so I'm hoping that happens.
I want that to happen so bad.
Yeah.
After that is the animated series called What If, which is based on some of my favorite Marvel comics, the What If comics, where they say, what if blank happened, or this was a thing. My favorite one was What If the Punisher's family hadn't been killed. That's a really good one, so seek that out. But they basically ask the question, what if,
something major,
Uncle Ben became Spider-Man, just all these weird different ideas. And so that's coming. It's animated.
Like Flashpoint.
Sort of, yeah. But this is just like one-off issues of like, what if this happened? Not, it's not true multiverse exploration really necessarily. Right.
Just hypothetically speaking,
it's like, what if this happened? So they could. I mean, if it got popular enough, an idea, it could definitely branch off into the multiverse. But Ms. Marvel is coming, which looks amazing. Hawkeye, it's kind of on the bubble there. It's getting like, it's supposed to come out, but I think didn't Jeremy Renner get some mild cancellation rumors or something? People are trying to cancel him.
Well, I mean, they're still for some things filming. So.
Yeah, so I think it's coming out. I think I don't know what's going on with that, but it seems to be a little bit of a troubled thing. Hawkeye, it looks like it'll be right. This one, Moon Knight with Oscar Isaac, which that's awesome. She-Hulk with Tatiana Maslany, again, so excited. I hope she plays multiple She-Hulks with different accents,
like Orphan Black.
And different. Oh my gosh, no,
it'll be Orphan Green.
Yes, exactly. I love her. She is phenomenal on that show, absolutely. Orphan Black. Yeah. Cannot wait to see this. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which is going to be a television special. How awesome is it that they're even doing this? Obviously, James Gunn is producing that and writing it and directing it. Obviously, he and Disney have kissed and made up, and it all is forgiven. And
Volume 3 is,
I know, but it's not. He's not just coming back for Volume 3 like he's doing other things. It's like he's not just like fulfilling that obligation and then kicking it back over to DC for the rest of his career. He's sticking with them for a little bit. So that's good. Secret Invasion, which is includes the Skrull we already met, played by Brett Mendelsohn. Am I saying his name? Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn. I knew it was Mendelsohn. And Samuel L. Jackson, obviously in that, which again, I can't believe this is for television. Like what? This is going to be a limited series. It's got these guys in it. Ironheart, I'm so looking forward to as well. Yeah. That is going to be awesome. That already has cast somebody as Riri Williams. So it's definitely in the works. Armor Wars, which is Don Cheadle will be in as War Machine, getting to finally headline as War Machine, which would be kind of fun. I'm assuming Riri will show up in that. I mean, if it's around the same time or they're filming, like it wouldn't make sense that he's doing iron things without her being in there somehow. I feel.
I do hope. I'm curious to see.
That's speculation, but yeah.
Right, I am curious to see if they're going to follow the comic book series Armor Wars, or if it's going to be slightly off. But yeah, I'm excited for that too.
And then supposedly in development is an untitled Wakanda series that Ryan Coogler is going to produce, something more like a drama series that takes place in Wakanda. So
if
that
they have
should
a
be
series that follows a Dora Milaje, I'm there.
right.
Yes,
Especially again after this last episode.
Just give me a series where it's all about Dora Milaje.
If he did that first run, the Ta-Nehisi Coates, if I'm saying
Yes.
where they and I can't remember the characters' names, but I thought I can't say their name. I can't say her name. Io.
I don't know.
AO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's where they break off from the Dora Milaje and kind of form, I forget what they're called, the something angels or whatever. Which is
right, the kind
cool.
of like a
Could be
secret
interesting.
service sort. Yeah,
that was a super cool run. So
when Walker puts his hand on her shoulder, oh my gosh,
that's one of the best.
It was
I had no idea.
Yeah.
that fight scene
that was so great.
The prelude to it was
You're just like,
phenomenal.
oh boy, no, you don't know what you just did.
And I have to tell you, like, one of the probably the best line in the whole series so far, where it was, what is the jurisdiction of the Dora Milaje is wherever the Dora Milaje
find themselves. Yeah,
happened to find it was so
great.
Good. The
line.
best
Great line.
The best.
And then they were just, Bucky and Sam were looking at each other like, should we do something?
Yeah.
No,
we
just
should do
let him,
something.
let him take his licks.
And Bucky's like,
he needs to take his
doing
licks.
great, John.
Yeah. That was so funny. All right. So, which again goes back to the fact that Sam should be helping that guy. Like he should, like, this is just building more anger in this guy. And again, he couldn't predict he was going to get the serum, but obviously that happened. So anyway, so of those shows we just mentioned, we'll start with you, Aaliyah. What are you most excited for?
Oh God, that was such a long list.
There's a lot of them.
I forgot half of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the first one because that was the very first one that I could remember, and say Loki.
Yeah, it does look good.
I am most excited for that. And then if you guys comment on anything else that I could not remember.
Yeah.
No, Loki
Utah.
does look good. Well, I mean, so it's tough for me because being a Marvel kid growing up, I mean, well, Jeff, you know, it was always make mine Marvel for all of my childhood, just because, as we've discussed before, the Marvel characters were just so much more relatable to me. And so seeing all these things from my childhood that I was a big fan of kind of pop up into live action, big budget television series is just so mind boggling to me. And then just, it's so cool. I like Loki coming out because it introduces the Time Variance Authority, and I think the TVA is an interesting little facet of the Marvel universe that I don't think a lot of people know about, and I think this will be a great introduction into that kind of that kind of thing where there is somebody watching everything and making sure that the timeline is correct or okay. And then, of course, that goes into bringing in the multiverse and everything else with Doctor Strange 2 and everything.
So which one are you most looking forward to? Is it Loki?
I gotta say, so now that I've said that, what if is the one that
this is your way of getting to talk about two of them, and you're only supposed to pick one that you're most looking forward to.
Aaliyah said I could jump.
I said, hey, if there's anything, because I remembered about Moon Knight, and I am very.
But in all honesty, What If is the one I'm looking forward to most, because the What If one-off issues were so great, and it's so cool to take, like you said, something, a huge event in the Marvel universe, and just change it, flip it, not even to the exact opposite, but change it, and then let's see, this is what happened. And so I love that kind of hypothetical idea, and the fact that it's an animated series, I think is cool. I think that's a neat choice. The fact that they brought all the actors to voice their characters in this animated series is astounding. You don't get to see that often. And so I'm really excited to see that. It's going to, it's just my thing. So the rest of it looks great, but What If is the one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. So. What about you, Tom? I'm
with everyone else. It's hard to pick one. And of course, with Loki's trailer, that's, I'm vibing for that. Yeah. But I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with Hawkeye, only because I love the, and now I can't think of Matt Fraction's run, and that they're kind of basing the series on that run is very exciting because it was so good. And I'm a huge Kate Bishop fan. I love that they brought in Haley Steinfeld to play her.
I think she's perfect casting.
Yeah. And just to kind of I like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, but maybe to kind of retire him a little bit and have Kate kind of come forward is pretty exciting. She's a great character, and so I'm looking forward to that. I hope it turns out. Pizza Dog is in there, Tracksuit Mafia is in there, so it's looking pretty good. So
yeah, and
that.
Great setup to the new Avengers.
I think
perhaps
probably.
So I am kind of split between two, but I'm going to center on one. The ones I'm split on are Moon Knight. I'm very excited. Oscar Isaac, I just think he's amazing. So I can't wait to see that. But I think I'm really more anticipating She-Hulk. I'm not even joking. I just think Tatiana Maslany is like the coolest, and I just love Orphan Black. That was a show that I just adored. It will probably annoy me that she is only one character in it, but I'm very excited to see.
She's kind of two characters. Come on.
That's true. But I'm very curious how they're going to portray. I'm really curious how this is gonna be. Is she going to be green all the time? Is she a green lawyer? Are they going to? How are they? Yeah, I'm really curious how they are approaching this as a show. And then more importantly, how are they going to then tie it to the other properties out there?
See Bruce?
Yeah. Will we see Bruce Banner? Will we see that kind of stuff? So yeah, very excited to see that connection as well. So
did you see the latest casting news about that? Renee Elise Goldsberry is going to be cast as a character in that.
Oh.
Yeah, really.
So Skylar's sister is going to be
that is very exciting. Hopefully, she'll sing.
Let me throw out though too.
I would pay to see She-Hulk the musical with
She-Hulk will be Peggy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And She-Hulk.
Let me throw out though, since we're in the TV section, that I think it's important to start looking for hidden scrolls since we're heading towards Secret Invasion.
Good point. Right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Who in each series might not be who they say they are.
Right. Cool. Well, let's think about that, and let's see if you have any theories here on the third section. But we can't get to the third section until we do
number 2.
All right, so we're going to do a similar thing with the films here. I'm going to go down a list of everything that's coming out, and we will touch on a couple of them in a little bit more detail, but then just kind of what are you most looking forward to. But obviously the one that's probably the highest anticipated one right now is the one that's been delayed for so long, and that's Black Widow, right? It was supposed to come out last year,
and it was supposed to start the Phase 4.
Yeah, it sure was. COVID-19 had other plans, and Disney is just digging their feet in, trying not to release this until it could come into theaters. They just really, really didn't want to do it. And now it's happening. It's coming out. It's going to be on Disney Plus as one of the premiere access. I believe it's also going to be in theaters, right? Yep. They're doing both. Yep. So they're following kind of the HBO Max, strategy there, which so far. Extra. So far is working out. Yeah, exactly. so far it seems to be working out for HBO Max. It seems to people are still seeing some of these movies in the theaters, which is great.
Like Godzilla v Kong. So
yeah, Black Widow is the first one. Again, I'm going to go through these and then we'll backtrack a little bit. So Black Widow coming out July 9th. That's not that far away. It's very soon. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Very, very excited for that. It's coming out right before my birthday. So happy birthday to me. Eternals. They thought we need to put a movie out so that Jeff can go to a movie on his birthday because it's been a while, right? And so we're gonna have to have a Marvel movie in September so he can do that. Eternals is coming out in November. It's coming out the weekend of Extra Life and of Neo Comic Con. Yes, so I don't know what we're gonna, or Akron Comic Con is the same weekend. So I don't know what we're gonna do, guys. We got to figure that out. But Eternals is coming out then. Spider-Man No Way Home is due right before Christmas. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness moving into 2022, directed by Sam Raimi, which is going to be phenomenal. Yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi is back in charge at the helm of a Thor movie, which let's face it, the one he did was obviously the best one. Everybody loved it the most, and so he needed to do another one. And that's coming out in May of next year. Black Panther 2, July of next year. I mean, next year is huge. Like
2022 is going to be jam-packed.
Captain Marvel 2 is coming out in November. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. That one does not have a release date yet, but they think it's going to be in 2022. And I'm like, where? My gosh, there's so many. How are you going to fit that in? And then, of course, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy and Fantastic Four that were announced, but not given dates, because probably Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be 2023 and Fantastic Four maybe in 2023. Blade is going to be a movie or a show. Why is it not on my list? It's going to be a limited series, I think, right?
I thought it was going to be a movie, but it was. I just realized
it's not on my list.
It's probably not on a lot of lists, just because other than that announcement at San Diego Comic-Con,
right, and that show and the casting, right? There's not been much news.
There hasn't been any talk about it. So
yeah. I think that's why it's not here.
I was under the assumption that it was going to be a movie, but based on the quality of the casting and the budgets for these Disney Plus shows,
who knows, right?
It could very easily be a Disney Plus show. I mean,
fingers crossed for Wesley Snipes as
he needs a cameo. Would he be Whistler?
I want him to be Whistler. How cool would that be? How cool would that be? That would be cool. He would make a good Whistler.
That would be cool, but that would almost be too distracting, I think.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Mahershala Ali is pretty just
he's very intense.
Yes, very much takes over the screen. He was absolutely one of the best parts of Luke Cage season 1.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, stole every scene that he's in. He's just phenomenal. So Blade definitely deserves to be on the list, but it's not on here because we don't know when it's coming out, or we don't have any announcements whatsoever to make for it. So, but of all of these, that might be the one I'm most excited for. I'll just give away. Spoiler alert. I am very excited for that movie. I love the Wesley Snipes Blade movies up to the third one. I'm not crazy about that, but I love those movies. I thought they're so much fun. I mean, and that really
the first comic book.
That's basically the
comic book movie.
Yeah, that was the main reason that we have an MCU. We can thank Wesley Snipes' Blade for that, because the success of those movies made them realize, okay, this could be a thing. Yeah. Anyway, so let's start with Black Widow. What do we know about it, Tom?
We know that this takes place, and correct me, I'm going off of memory, between Civil War and Infinity War.
For a very good reason.
Yes.
And I think it's okay. We can spoil Endgame and Infinity War now.
Because Black Widow's still alive.
Black Widow, right? So she is on the run, and she heads back to Mother Russia. Presumably, I'm going to guess, to hide out to begin with, and then falls into some kind of adventure with trouble with her family, who apparently are all Black Widows except for her father,
except for Father Guardian,
who's going to be one of all of our favorite characters for the rest of time.
Instantly.
Right?
His backstory in Stranger Things shows us how he got to Russia, right?
Sheriff Hopper. It's all the same universe.
That's right.
I'm trying to make that happen.
Yeah. And then they face off against Taskmaster, but he's kind of the henchman for the main bad guy, and I can't think of his name. It's a Russian baddie. I'm going to have to look it up. But you're right. Yeah, that's kind of a thrust, and I think we'll deal with a lot of family issues, really, more than anything else, and kind of your family is what you make it issues, right? Because these aren't her true although family. They're not her true. Maybe her sister, right? That would be right, not biological.
Right.
Maybe one of them is from the last trailer, but I'm not sure. But I don't think so. Right. I think they're all within the agency, so to speak. Right. So and a lot of cool, crazy aerial stuff. I think we're gonna see.
Right. Good stuff. That's been in since the very first trailer. That's the aerial stuff.
Crazy aerial stuff. But it'll be fun to see Taskmaster, who's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Who we haven't seen yet, or have we?
Well, yeah, right.
Well,
exactly.
I mean,
because I have there's some theories going around that one of the characters we've seen in the trailer actually is the Taskmaster. I don't know if you've heard that. We can get into speculation when we get that. But yeah, that we've already seen who the Taskmaster is. It turns out to be somebody we know. So, or somebody she knows.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be interesting. I'm excited. Who's excited for that one?
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for Black Widow since they announced it, and every time they said, "Oh, we're pushing it back, I was just pulling my hair out, going, "Oh, it's like." And I think the most frustrating part was, it was done.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like they still had production to do. The movie was done, but they just kept on delaying it. And like, you have it in the can, so to speak. Just give it to us. Come on, please.
It's a testament to Disney's security that didn't get leaked onto the torrent sites or something somehow in the
fair point.
Yeah, a year and a half, pretty much, or more.
Yeah.
It's nearly 2 years.
And then can you imagine being the cast having to keep all the spoilers in for this long? I mean, over a year.
We know that what's the Spider-Man?
Oh, Tom Holland?
Yes, Tom Holland. He would not be able to keep that secret, would he?
Yeah. If he knows anything,
they don't tell him anything.
Yeah. Not even about his own movies.
Not even about his own movie. Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know he's playing Spider-Man.
That's right. Still doesn't know.
He still doesn't know. He still thinks he's playing Peter Parker.
That's right. But, and I know you'll get into this, Jeff, but just the Eternals too, that we've just seen nothing. Like they just went dark on the Eternals once COVID hit, and we should have had a trailer. We should have had probably two trailers. Well, it would have been out by now, but a trailer or two.
Well,
we saw Kumail Nanjiani's ripped.
Well, okay, so that's a special effect.
Instagram picture.
I mean, that's a special effect in itself. The fact that he transformed himself like that is
crazy.
Impressive.
It's pretty amazing.
But I think also
when the rest of us during COVID are doing the opposite,
right?
He's coming out looking like an Adonis. He's like, what?
Yeah, my VFX team went the other way, and I still have to talk to them about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think also the Eternals part of it is just that I think it's going to be such a visual effects heavy film, because we're talking about Titans here. We're talking about beings that predate everything, right? And so I don't think we're going to see a lot of these actors' faces, because they're all going to be very much CGI'd up like Thanos and his gang. But I'm excited to see it based on just the casting alone and the director. So
it's just another one of those. It reminds me of Guardians, right? Where it's where you can say, like, is this really going to play? It's like, let's see this. True. Although now we know everyone's going to see it, but it's that same similar vibe of like just not what you would expect to come out of Marvel. You know what?
It makes me nervous that it might have what are the Inhumans vibe, and that show that they attempted briefly
that was horrible.
And was just so bad. And so for some reason, when you bring up the Eternals, that comes to my mind, and I'm like, please, not something like that, because again, Inhumans is a very kind of otherworldly, very, and the problem with it is that they made it too worldly. Like they did, it was bad.
They bit off more than their budget.
Yeah. So this one, it's going to be interesting to see. And do we know what run or what this is going to be based on at all?
I think it's it's probably a little bit of a mix, but it's the newer run, and I forget who wrote it.
It's not the original.
John Romita Jr. drew it. I'd have to look up who wrote it, but it has a very similar where the Eternals kind of don't know. A few of them don't know that they're Eternals, and they kind of wake up to it because of the deviants who are there, if you don't know, are kind of their arch nemesis, right? So, in very old school comic book style, the Eternals were, beautiful people, and the deviants were ugly people, basically mutants, but not in the Marvel sense mutants, but, mutants.
Mutated.
And I think based on experiments by the now I can't think of their names. The Titans you were talking about, Utah. The big the big Kirby beasts, the Celestials.
There we go.
Yeah. Which is all crazy. This is all crazy Kirby mythology.
It's out there.
It's very, very,
And how are they going to tie any of this to the MCU? I mean, it'll be interesting. Probably not at all. It may just be like a kind of out there thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I wonder, do you think they would touch upon Thanos at all? Because
they could, because
he was the Mad Titan, right?
Yeah, they could. I could see them because they are eternal. They could touch on. I think a lot of it's supposed to cover ancient kind of Marvel history, so we kind of see how superheroes came to be in a little bit, or some of the power that came to be.
Would this be a way for them to bring mutants in?
Potentially, maybe, or at least hint towards that. Right. I think it would be an odd choice to do that because how many people are gonna kind of get in and dig on the Eternal?
Yeah,
but it's true.
We'll see.
So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. How cool is this?
That's cool. The one. That's the one.
I really want to see that one. Yeah,
so super
I agree.
Because that was the one comic book where I saw myself.
Yeah,
sure.
Where I actually looked through the pages and that guy looks like me. And is going through some of the same things that I go through with as a technically first generation, but really second generation immigrant. And so when they announced that, I was super excited. And it was so funny because, I followed Simu Liu before he was announced on Twitter. And when Black Panther came out, he tweeted to Marvel saying, hey, so when are we going to talk about Shang-Chi? And then to only a little over a year later, get the call 3 days before San Diego Comic-Con from Kevin Feige to say, hey, so we want you to be Shang-Chi. And can you come to San Diego in about 3 days?
That's pretty crazy.
So it's just freaking amazing. And so, I'm super, super excited. And of course, and not only because of my own history with the comic, but to actually see the real Mandarin after we've been faked out by Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I love that. I'm just real quick. I love that that's
was a fun
happening,
twist.
Right? Because that was a twist, but then people were really mad. And I might be mad too if that was really that was it. We're not actually ever going to see that really was.
We weren't going to touch upon that.
The fake Mandarin was the Mandarin. That was what they thought. So thankfully they're fixing that. That's one of the things I love about this too.
Hashtag the real Mandarin.
Yes. Restore the Mandarin cut. No.
Right. Restore the Mandarin.
What's great about that for me is I only learned of if I'm remembering his name, Simu Lee, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
From
Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, started watching that and I'm like, oh, he's really funny. And then to learn he's a crazy black belt martial artist on top of that, and then start to see some of the videos that he's posted where he's choreographing fights with friends.
So cool.
It's unbelievable. And then you're like, oh, he's perfect. He's got kind of the humor and the youth and the everything that character kind of imbues too. So that should be very cool. Utah, are you reading have you read any of the new run?
No, I haven't yet.
No, it's pretty good. I've read a couple issues.
Is it?
Good. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pick that up next time I go.
Yeah. That's good. It's a good character.
What about you, Aaliyah? Which one of those, if you need me to read them all again, I will.
No, actually.
Which movie are you looking forward to the most?
I am honestly looking forward to Doctor Strange the most, even though it probably isn't coming out until 2022, right? And then I am also looking forward to Morbius. You didn't mention that one, but I am looking forward.
Right, those are it's technically not the MCU because Sony is producing that. But
right. Yes, Morbius is coming. Yeah. Which
we did just find out that Sony is now in an agreement with Netflix. All of their movies are going right to Netflix. So the next Spider-Verse movie, the Morbius, and there's another, Venom 2. Those are all going to go to Netflix after they hit theaters and whatnot.
Awesome. So I did not know.
So they have a little bit of a home now, and we'll see how long that lasts until Sony makes their own Sony Plus.
Because everybody's doing it.
It's super smart though, right? For these companies to team up with somebody that's already doing it instead of making their own. Yeah. I think that's just genius. And so someone teams up with Netflix. Hulu technically is already Disney, but FX is, kind of in there, and they're doing all that stuff. So I think it's smart, rather than trying to do another one. We don't need yet another thing to subscribe to. My wife is like, no more.
It's getting to the point where all the streaming services add up to what you would have paid for cable anyway, right?
Yeah, and then you pay for cable on top of it if you're dumb like me.
And then
So yeah, Doctor Strange, that is going to be great. I mean, that's going to be very exciting. I love the fact that they're taking more of a horror tactic with it. Mm-hmm. And Sam Raimi being the director of that that's making me very excited.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell is in it. Yeah.
He already teased it. He teased it a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Well, he teased it as Ash showing up in the movie. Did you see that piece of the screenplay he shared?
That was a great April Fool's joke on Bruce Campbell's part. Yeah. But I want that to happen so very much.
Oh gosh, if that could be an end credit scene.
It was such a perfect scene, right? Doctor Strange kind of shows up in this multiverse. Ash opens the cabin door. He's like, "Who are you?" I mean, awesome. How great would that be?
But we also got to wonder if Sam Raimi's going to try to. I mean, if he's dealing with the multiverse, are we going to see Tobey Maguire?
Right.
I know we're moving into speculation. Right? We may as well, right? I mean, here's the thing. Let's just do it. Let's do this. Hold on. Let me make sure I hit the right future.
Number 3.
So I'm just going to go ahead and mix these last two because we are coming up on time. I want to make sure we have enough time to kind of speculate, and we've already kind of snuck some speculation into each of these. But seriously, all of these movies that are coming out are very exciting. But how do we connect all of these? Because I think that's what we're all dying to kind of talk about, right? The multiverse one is the one. First of all, there's already rumors that the No Way Home is going to already have some multiverse stuff going on. Right. And they seem to be very, very confirmed rumors, but not any sightings of actual costumes or.
Well, it's so interesting, right? Because we know
not any confirmations, but very solid rumors. So it's very hard.
Do we know for sure that Electro and Doc Ock are in it?
We do know.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's confirmed that Alfred Molina. So it's not confirmed that Toby or Andrew have been cast.
Correct.
Those are just rumors.
Yeah.
But we know for sure. Okay. So And
then even if they are, but those rumors are even the rumors of those two seem to be pretty solid rumors. But again, nobody's seen them so they could just be making a cameo, or they could be, maybe they're showing up there and we're going to see shades of that in Sam Raimi's movie. Like they're somehow merging these movies together. Like what is happening?
They're just going to have a shot of Tobey Maguire strutting down the sidewalk like in
Spider-Man 3,
dancing, right?
Yeah.
Dancing to Bee Gees.
Just the dancing. Yeah.
I will not be happy until one of the movies has all three of them in costume pointing at each other.
That's it.
You're the spider. Right? You're the imposter. No, you're the imposter. You're the imposter.
I want that so bad. Please.
That'd be amazing. Well, there's going to be a meme about that anyway. So
right.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, Doctor Strange really has a chance to really make some significant changes or movements in the entire phase 4, right? Because anytime you start messing with the multiverse, you're going to affect everything that's going on. And
but also WandaVision.
Right, exactly. We already know WandaVision is tied into it. So what is that going to mean? And Tom, I know you have some really heavy duty theories around some of this stuff.
Yeah, I could go for hours. I don't know where. I will very quickly give you a very 500 million foot Go ahead.
I was just going to say, tell them where your website, because they can go there and see your, you've like meticulous. I'm surprised to just see this clean attic space. I was totally expecting all these post-it notes with yarn strung across and like pointing
the conspiracy yarn.
Yeah. Who is this?
Here. Yeah. Well, yes. So Marvel's Cinematic University.com, not connected with the podcast. There's a podcast with the same name. But I have been around for years and years. But yeah, so if you go there, I've been posting as I can. Kind of, I decided I started like a 2,000 word mega theory. Like I wanted to like swing big. What's phase 4, phase 5, and phase 6 going to be? What's the next big arc? And so I went Secret Wars, and I started writing this like, here's how it's all connected. Maybe it'll be 2,000 words, and I'm at like something like 20,000 words. Like a novella.
You split it up into parts, right? So you're at part 5 now?
Yeah. I'm up to 5, and now I'm going to add Loki. Like I was going to kick over into Doctor Strange, but now I'm going to add Loki. And I tried to do it all before anything came out, and I just wrote so much it was ridiculous. But the mega theory, the mega theory is that they're going into Secret Wars, and phase 4. I won't dive into the whole thing, but you can ask questions if you want, or go to the website, right? Phase 4 is sort of this introduction to what an incursion is, the new Secret Wars, if you follow that. Kind of the idea of the multiverse is imploding in on itself, right? And I kind of deal with Steve going off to a different timeline, and Wanda, trudging into the multiverse on a search for her kids, and how that just kind of mucks up the multiverse. And by the end of phase 4, everything's a mess. And we go into phase 5, which when I get to it, we'll talk about Dark Reign. So if you follow the whole Dark Reign saga, I think all of, in Act 2 is always the low point for the heroes. So here we get into Dark Reign, where, we're already seeing Zemo and US Agent, and all these kind of villains rise to power or prominence. And I think we'll lead into that. So our sequels will kind of deal with the villains kind of in power and glorified, which will then lead into phase 6, which will be Secret Wars, Battle Worlds kind of craziness, right? And I think that helps introduce Fantastic Four. I think that helps
Doctor Doom,
mutants, Doctor Doom, like all those kind of characters in there. And I start, to your point, Jeff and Utah, like, the pins and the thread. There's so much going on, and I know 90% of it will be wrong, but it's
part of the fun.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. But that's the fun of speculating, is coming up with some of the ideas and then hoping, waiting to see if some of that comes true. It's kind of fun. I did a similar thing during the prequels. I thought for sure I knew exactly how Mace Windu was going to go out. I had this great scene written up, just stuff that was going to happen, and then the movies came out and they weren't as good as my ideas.
The whole world was disappointed with how Mace Windu left. The whole world. I don't think anybody that liked how he went.
Yeah. Well, so far, I think we've now proven that anyone who falls from a great height in Star Wars never actually dies anyway. Right. So Mace Windu is still alive. We know this.
Darth Maul came back multiple times.
Everybody has come back from those falls.
Yeah.
The Emperor, everyone. Fall in a hole, you're okay. It's fine. It's Star Wars.
Perfectly.
As long as you don't see them fall to their death. Just fall.
Right. Yeah. So that's if you're tuning in, make sure you check that out. There's some really interesting speculation that Tom has made there. So let me ask you then, because this is, I think, what a lot of people really are hoping for. And Utah, you mentioned it, the Fantastic Four, or Tom mentioned it, but Dr. Doom. How do we get Dr. Doom in there? Which that was what you mentioned, Utah. Right. Where do the mutants come from? Like I actually thought maybe that WandaVision was going to kind of introduce the mutants. I thought we were going to get that. So that was my prediction that never happened. But I'm okay with that. Unlike some of the fan-titled folks that are out there who went nuts when their predictions went wrong.
I can't believe Evan Peters. Blah, blah, blah.
I totally still love that show. I don't care that it didn't meet what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's fun to speculate. I love to try and see if we can predict where these things are going. And then when they completely usurp those ideas, I love that. Like, to me, that doesn't disappoint me, because it's like, if I knew what was going to, it's kind of like every time, remember when Walking Dead first premiered and we kind of thought we knew everything that was going to happen because it happened almost like the comic book. And then they switched things up and Shane lived longer and died in a different way.
Carl.
Yeah. When all of that stuff happened, I was like, okay, this is great. And then when something did go with the comic book, that became a surprise, even though I was supposed to expect it. So they keep kind of, because they don't want, if you really want just what you saw in the comic book or the book and you go to see these things, just read the book again. It's they need to let them explore a little bit. We're seeing this through another artist's eyes. Another artist has taken a stab at this. Don't get me wrong. I still think some stuff that comes out that is, deviates too much is terrible. I mean, you can have that opinion, but the world's not over, guys. We still have it. Right. But yeah, so the mutants didn't come out in there. Fantastic Four wasn't introduced. The engineer that she kept mentioning wasn't Reed Richards. Like, these are things that we were all hoping would happen. So where do you guys think the mutants fit into this phase? And I'll let you obviously share, Tom, and then we can chime in if we have ideas, but I'll let you share kind of how you think the mutants fit into this new phase based on your speculative powers over there.
Yeah. And I haven't dug in deeply yet, because I can't figure it out myself, but my guess is really it's Doctor Strange. And when we start diving into different universes and the idea of Secret Wars for me is really bringing, it's Flashpoint to your point, Aaliyah, like, it's bringing all of these universes together into one kind of prime universe, at least with the mutants and the Fox properties, right? So my guess is that it maybe gets planted there if they land in that world, in a Fox world. But I bet you we don't see, obviously, because we know Phase 4 for the most part, that we won't really see the X-Men until Phase 5. Maybe one or two characters. I mean, we have the Princess Bar, right, and Madripoor. So
Madripoor. That's
first
a great
little like taste of places we couldn't go before.
My kids hate it when we're watching these shows and I'm like, I do this, and I'm like, because they're like, what now? And it's like we know a pause is about to occur because he has to tell us why this thing. But I'm just like,
what is it with Madripoor?
So Madripoor is it's significant in Marvel in lots of ways, but it's also very much a mutant kind of, and a lot of the mutant stories take place there. In particular, one particular mutant who I absolutely adore.
That's right.
Who is very good at what he does, but what he does isn't very nice. Wolverine spends a lot of time in Lowtown in Madripoor, in his legend and his history and his past. And so when they mention that, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, if there's some like clause or mention of a guy or something like that, man, I cannot. I got goosebumps when they said Madripoor, because to me that's, and again, I feel like it's just, they're just planting these little seeds. Evan Peters, they planted a seed, they gave us these little seeds, and Madripoor is just a seed. So I know it, like you said, it's probably not happening for another phase or two.
But we'll get little bits,
But this is another step, and I'm very excited.
But I didn't know about the Princess Bar before, but that's Wolverine owns the Princess Bar. So the fact that they show the Princess Bar is pretty big, and the mutants kind of, the X-Men kind of hang out there. Yeah, they're in Madripoor, so that's pretty cool too.
But I'm also curious about what they're planning to do with this new mutants. I went and saw the movie.
Oh, the movie. Yeah. Where does that fit in?
Yeah, I'm very curious about that, especially because what's her name? Let me see. Anya Taylor, her power is very much like she is able to like kind of go within this universe, and I don't really know what her power is, but I remember seeing this like world that she created within her mind.
Which character did she play?
Yeah, what character?
I haven't seen it. Giuliana or Moonstar?
I think she was Moonstar. No, hold on.
Moonstar.
She was Magic. Excuse me.
Magic. Yeah. So Limbo. I mean, that's another way in, right? So, and we didn't talk about this, but in America Chavez shows up in Doctor Strange too. So we've got another dimension hopper in our midst too, and another Young Avengers to get closer to the whole team being together. But it could
be interesting
at that point with Ilyana too, and her ability to go between dimensions. You know, you start seeing ways that you can kind of tie all these universes together.
We do wonder if the New Mutants will make it though, because the movie The New Mutants will make it, because it was a Fox property. When they bring
how much of the Fox properties?
Obviously the characters are coming in, but we're going to get a new Wolverine. We're going to get new everybody. So the New Mutants may get a new introduction. I mean, we have no idea.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Not sure when we'll get it. When we'll get a full X-Men team, but they could surprise us, right? Like all of a sudden, here they are. So.
I think they will. I think it will hold off for as long as they can, because it has to be right. Like, this is one of those things, they don't want to screw it up. They're definitely gonna, because people are going to have such high expectations of it. Like, Hugh Jackman set a bar as Wolverine. And so the first announcement of someone as Wolverine is going to polarize the entire internet. You're going to have people who be like, there'll be the people who are like, Ben Affleck will make a great Batman. And the people who are like, Batfleck, what? And that's what's going to happen with Wolverine. I mean, it just is, right? People are going to
be like a great Wolverine.
Half the people are going to hate it and half the people are going to love it. It's just, what's the right answer? There isn't one, unfortunately. Like, they're just going to have to. And so I feel like they're going to wait until they're absolutely sure, like, this is what we're going to do, because you don't want to blow the X-Men.
No.
Right. No. And I don't think they want to fall into the same trap that Sony did, where they like rebooted Spider-Man how many years after?
Yes.
Yeah. 2, maybe.
Still. Yeah. Right. Still. So people are still, the previous version is still fresh in people's minds. Mm-hmm. And so I think you're right. I think they're going to wait a long time so that, Hugh Jackman's image can fade a little bit. He never will fade completely. He's just too amazing. But, people will be far enough away from it that they may be more willing to accept that, okay, it's time to, pass the torch, pass the blade, pass the blade on to the next, pass the claws to the next guy. But yeah, and really, you think about it, Marvel's doing pretty amazing without mutants, and arguably their second most known franchise in their comic universe, right? So there's really no rush. So
right. They're not in a hurry. We're in a hurry.
No. Well, but we are, but
they're not in a hurry. Like, we want it so bad that we're seeing mutants everywhere.
Oh yeah.
WandaVision. I'm like, oh.
Hey, wait, that guy's sunglasses broke in half. There's only one. It's Cyclops.
No. So that's gonna be amazing. The only other thing I kind of want to obviously point out, and just some thoughts about, obviously this is not until next year, but Black Panther 2 continuing without Chadwick Boseman is obviously bittersweet. We're grateful that it's going to continue, but it's obviously going to be hard. I mean, when that opening credits roll, it's already going to be how many? Let me ask you this: how many of you thought for a split second when they were showing Wakanda at the beginning of this episode, that they were going to address the fact that, like, I didn't know it was a flashback. When I saw we were in Wakanda, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to address the fact that T'Challa is dead? I was like, what is happening? And then it was a flashback, and I was like, okay, but but my reaction to seeing that was like visceral. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, Wakanda. Oh no. So when that movie comes out, it's going to be the same thing, right? As soon as that title screen comes up, you're just going to be like, okay, how's this going to be addressed? Right. And this is going to be an emotional roller coaster at the beginning. And
you practically start with a funeral,
Yeah, you have to.
And you have to let people, let people kind of walk through that grief. And I think that'll be the hardest part of that film, is that it will be sort of celebration of Chadwick and that character. Although I do think, and, I'm hopeful that it goes to Shuri.
Same here.
Because it happens in the comics, and I think she's good. I don't know her name, but she's a great actress, and I think it's powerful. Yeah, to have that happen. But I think you can't get through that movie if you don't kind of celebrate the character and the man. And I hope they give T'Challa the same illness that Chadwick had, and just kind of let that be the thing that gets him. It's not. Yeah. It's the thing that gets everybody in a way, right? It's the thing that you can't beat even as a superhero. It's almost the Jim Starlin Captain Marvel, which is just as powerful. Where Captain Marvel dies of cancer. Like it's the thing that takes down one of the most powerful superheroes ever. So they could kind of follow that model.
I think that's genius, actually.
Yeah. And then, but I think it's still Marvel. You still want an adventure. You still want to kind of pass that to the next character who, I'm hoping it Shuri kind of takes that up. And maybe Sam comes in. Wouldn't it be great to have Sam kind of figure out that, he can take on this mantle, and comes in and kind of help Shuri understand that she can also take on this mantle and not mentor her, but at least support her in the way that he supports, other characters, and like, you can kind of do this and have her go on and be that character. It'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So lots of stuff happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is just
not enough stuff.
Right now. Never enough.
Right now.
I said it at the beginning. This is, just the first, first three phases or whatever we just went through the end game has never happened ever before.
Probably won't again.
Hopefully it is. This is it again happening. Like, my point is, nothing's ever coordinated that many movies and that many stories all to tell one final conclusion. Yep. No one has ever attempted anything like that before. It's an achievement that they even pulled it off. And now here they are trying to basically kind of do it again, but including television, using all these different mediums to tell these stories. And it's phenomenal. And I think, we won't get into it, but DC needs to kind of get on the ball, right? Give us some sort of coherent thing to follow. They do. They need to give us something coherent to follow. That is not to say I didn't enjoy some of the things that they've put out. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is and they don't have to mimic Marvel. That's not the idea either, because they're kind of doomed if they do and doomed if they don't, right? Because if they start trying to do the same thing Marvel did, everybody like, you're just copying Marvel. And if they don't do it, people are like, why aren't you more like Marvel? It's kind of like being the younger brother, right, in the family. Right. And it's like every time you try to do something, they criticize it. And that's, unfortunately, DC, they're in that place because Marvel got there first and they did it amazingly. And DC dropped the ball. They just did when they had the chance to do something with it. But I have high hopes for DC, but as Utah said earlier, I was definitely a Marvel kid growing up. So for me, this has been like my, seeing all those comics I read as a kid, just coming to life. It's phenomenal. And so I've just really enjoyed the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's been fun talking about it with you guys here tonight. Tom, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you coming by.
Thanks.
I know that you do a lot of research into that, and I want people to know about your website. So share it again.
Sure. It's Marvel Cinematic University. .com. So go there. I'm on Facebook. You can find it on Facebook too. It might be Marvel Cine Move or something like that. But look it up. Yeah. You'll find me. And then as I post, I'll share it there.
Yeah. And so, Tom does some intensive research and has some really cool ideas on what could happen. And again, it's just for fun. I mean, people, It's not like and I've known Tom for a while now. He's not one of those. Exactly. He's not one of those who gets really disappointed if his ideas don't come to fruition, because maybe the worst thing is everything you said comes true. And then you're not surprised by anything.
No,
then you won't enjoy it as much.
Right. You like like when you say, "Oh, it's going to go this way," and then you go, "Oh, they did it way better than I thought." You know?
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. So anyway, thank you for tuning in to the podcast is real. Utah, Aaliyah, thank you for being with me again, as always. This is the official podcast of World Gone Geek. We're here live every other Sunday and every Thursday to provide pop culture entertainment in the form of a podcast or our audience interactive game nights, which we're doing on Thursday. And Tom, are you coming this Thursday?
So.
Are you able to?
So. Yeah.
Hopefully Tom's going to join us for game night this Thursday. We play Jackbox games. Please check that out. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, doing all of that. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, or whatever function happens to be where you're enjoying us. We're on all of 3 of those with our live streams. And if you're looking for our podcasts, those are on all the major platforms. Just search World Gone Geek. And if you, as I mentioned before, if you'd like to support our shows and our efforts here, please go to buymeacoffee.com/World Gone Geek. You can throw up a few bucks to help us keep the lights on, so to speak. We're working on some perks, but I am sending out stickers to people who support us. So if you happen to do that, make sure you put your Twitter in there and follow us so that I can send you a sticker. If you happen to throw some a donation up through the buy me a coffee thing. And if you don't have Twitter, you can contact me at jeff@worldgonegeek.com. And if you can show me that I want you to get a sticker. I really do. If you donated, I want to get you a sticker. So send me an email and your screenshot of what you did, and we'll get you a sticker. We want you to
message him on AOL Messenger.
Yeah, and I'm on MySpace. You might even get into one of my top 8 spaces.
Be one of his top MySpace friends.
That's right.
Call into the Cleveland Bolton.
Exactly. Well, big things on the way here at World Gone Geek, folks. Fun things, new shows, new antics, new games. Don't miss a single second. Subscribe, follow, like all the things. Follow at World Gone Geek on all the social machines, including TikTok. We're on there now too. Content coming soon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. We appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you for being here.
The Podcast is Real is a World Gone Geek production.